Andrew Marr has done an incredibly moving interview with Vladimir Kara Murza, and he starts the interview by opening up and saying, "You're in the same chair that you were sitting in on March 29th, 2022, and I asked you why you wanted to go back to Russia. You said, because I'm a Russian politician, and it would be wrong not to go back to Russia." And I salute Kara-Murzov's bravery and his fortitude and his determination, his honesty in going back to Russia, where he expected to be put in prison, which is what happened, and to be pushed into a position where he was near death. And all that I accept and I salute, as I say. I think he's a stirring and impressive man. However, the terms of his release, which should have been anticipated by him, meant that vicious murderers were freed from their prisons and sent back to Russia, where they can continue to operate in freedom under Putin's appalling regime. And this is so of any hero who goes back to Russia to defy Putin in the knowledge that they will be put in prison and presented as a martyr to the world. Not only that, they're also a hostage to the world. I know it's not popular to say this, but Putin should not be given extra hostages to be traded for the blackguards who are in Western prisons, who can be released to seek the release of those people who we know are good people. I know there's a desire for people to show what they mean, to stand up to tyranny. But when those people are used as hostages, this is not the way forward. This is indeed a chess move where Putin can build future queens or future knights who can be used against us. So I'd love to know what you think about this. Maybe my opinion is deeply wrong. I've lived in Russia. I know also how homesick Russians feel when they're outside their country. I understand that deeply. And I know how much I have felt homesick when I have been away from the UK, how much I've longed for cheddar cheese and Ribena. I remember actually when I was living in Russia, I eventually managed to stop people giving me this disgusting tea with warm milk in it, and I remember giving directions to people in Russian and saying, what I really want is boring tea, skushny chai. And they would generally counter me and say, no, you mean tasty tea. And I would say, no, I really do mean boring tea. And suddenly I got tetlies. And I thought that was so wonderful. I thought I could go into the supermarket and maybe I could find some cheddar cheese. And I went to an assistant in the supermarket and I said, do you have any skushny syr? And suddenly she produced some pretty ropey but perfectly acceptable cheddar, and I thought, that is wonderful. I'm never going to poo-poo boring again. Boring is in. Boring is good. And you can't be interesting all the time. Sometimes you need a bit of cheddar. You need a bit of strong Yorkshire tea or Tetleys. And sometimes I had to admit, sometimes as a lecturer, I had to put in a boring performance. But I think, every so often I'm talking here on YouTube and I think, oh my goodness, I've done so many earnest pieces. I need to throw in a moment of Matt Hancock in the stationery cupboard. No, let's make it move. Just simply to let people know that I can still smile. And that I'm not permanently locked in some sort of agony of protracted expiration. And sometimes one feels, looking around the country, that there is nothing but to do except for a slow death rattle in the face of Kemi Badenoch or Rachel Reeves. And what do you choose between them? Keir Starmer. Oh my God! And it's a misery, really. I was doing a piece earlier today about cocaine, and I thought that the rumours that I cannot speak about, that go around political circles, are simply astonishing. The open secrets about drinking, about drug use, about promiscuity. It's as if the call to high office is a call to corruption. Now, I remember having conversations with people in other countries and thinking these countries are deeply corrupt. Those countries are far less corrupt now. And instead it's our turn. We are waving the banner of corruption. And in a very British way, we're doing our best not to speak about it. And we pillory Johnson. We pillory Johnson for parties. And I didn't eat any cake. And he must wonder, why all the fuss? Because he can see, as well as I can, the feast of open sewerage that lies in front of us. And it's not party driven. It's not driven by one particular tribe or another. It seems to be, you open the door of Westminster and it's just a pigsty. And we need to cleanse that place. We need to cleanse it. I don't know how. I started talking about Kara Murza. I don't know how I got onto this, but I'll stop here, because otherwise you'll think I'm just sort of going off on one, which I am, I suppose. I am. It's late. I need to get to bed. I'm feeling quite satisfied today because I've done a bit of animation, not enough, but a bit, and it's sad because when I fell on leaves a few days ago, I seriously hurt my hand, and the last time I hurt my hand, it was because I was pushed against the side of the bushes by some louts riding bicycles on the pavement. It's illegal to ride bicycles on the pavement, and it doesn't matter how dangerous you think the road is, it's illegal to ride a bicycle on the pavement. And thankfully some people ride the bicycle quite slowly and say hello to me, which I find rather charming. But some people charge down the road on their bicycle with no heed at all to the pedestrians, ringing their bell to get them out of the way. And, should a car back onto the pavement and accidentally run them over, the law would not support them because they're in the wrong place. They should be riding on the road, not the pavement. And the driver of the car is not obliged to look onto the pavement to see if there's a bicycle there. They might be obliged to see if there's a pedestrian there, but not a bicycle. So, people are warned. It's dangerous. Anyway, I was hit by 2 bicycles, and I seriously damaged my arm, my elbow, my shoulder. And it took me about 3 months before I was able to get to work at the beginning of the year. Now I'm back to the same sort of thing, but in fact I'm able to push through this one. I've got a few little scrapes and injuries on my hand, but otherwise I think I've been very lucky this time, just falling on the pavement and some leaves. But I think there's a limit to how many falls one should be having. I wrote to 3 of my local councillors. None of them bothered writing back or contacting me. The local county councillor has contacted me, which I suppose is something of a relief. I believe the leaves on the pavement are not part of his remit, but it's nice that somebody's bothered to reply. But again, you have to ask if the leaf clearage around the points where the pedestrians are expected to cross the road are not cleared by the council, as they are not, what is the council doing to justify the council tax it takes?